Let's talk about building a perfect world. And I don't just mean, a better one. I mean something that's totally different at its very core. That's the journey we're going to take today, a deep dive into this idea of a world without walls, a world without those mental boundaries that pretty much shape our entire reality.
So, here's the big question that really gets this whole thing started. What if we could actually, genuinely create a perfect world? I'm talking about a world with zero mental boundaries, right? No systems designed to tell us what to think. A place where truth to just flow. I mean, what would that even look like? What would it take?
Okay, so the first place your mind probably goes, and where this whole thought experiment leads, is education. Makes sense, right? How would you even teach the next generation if the goal wasn't to, jam them into the world as it is right now, but instead to let them experience the world as it could be?
And right away, you hit this massive shift in what education is even for. The whole idea is that it wouldn't be about training minds to fit into some pre-made mold. Nope. It would be about revealing what's already there. Just providing the context for the big truths of the universe and, where we fit into all of it.
And this difference between conditioning and context, it's everything. It's so key. On one side, you've got conditioning. That's basically being told what to believe, and hey, don't you dare question it. That's how you plant the very first seed of a mental wall. But then on the other side, you have context. And that's all about learning how to see. It's where ideas are just possibilities, discoveries are case studies, and mistakes, they're just chances to learn. It's a huge shift, from just getting static answers to really engaging in a dynamic kind of inquiry.
Okay, so that sounds pretty good, right? But this is where things get a little complicated. Because even if we could build this perfect, flawless system for education, would that really be enough? Would that guarantee peace? And suddenly the focus has to shift from the outside inward to the human heart itself.
And yeah, that is the critical question, isn't it? If you get rid of all the walls on the outside, do the ones on the inside just build themselves right back up? This is where the whole thought experiment kind of smacks into its first big wall. The raw, messy, complicated reality of just being human.
Which brings us to this core idea of duality. And the thinking here is that conflict isn't just something that happens out there between people. No, it's described as a primitive ingredient of being human. It's this internal state of contrast, of opposites, that exists inside every single one of us.
I mean, this quote just says it all. It's not about good people versus bad people. That's way too simple. It's about realizing that the potential for both incredible light and deep shadow exist in the exact same heart. So even in a perfect world, that inner turbulence, it would still need to come out somehow.
So, where does that leave us, right? Well, the thought experiment takes another cool turn. It asks us to imagine that we actually pull it off. We do it. We achieve total global peace. But even in this perfect state, something fascinating, a paradox, starts to show up.
Seriously, just try to imagine it for a second. A world with absolutely no conflict, no suffering. On the surface, that's paradise, right? That's the end goal. But there's this weird nagging feeling that something really important is missing. It just feels incomplete.
And the way this is explained is with this really beautiful analogy of a 2-year-old child. Think about it. A toddler is pure freedom. They're totally spontaneous, they're innocent, they live completely in the now, with zero concept of boundaries or walls.
And boom, there it is. That's the core of the paradox. The child is freedom, but they're not aware of it. They have no idea what they even have. So the question becomes, is freedom really fulfilled if you're not conscious of it? Is that kind of unconscious peace the final goal? Or is it just a beautiful place to start? And this is the major turning point in the whole contemplation. It's the moment of realization that, wait a minute, maybe the problem was never the external system to begin with. Maybe the real journey is somewhere else entirely. So the whole goal just flips on its head. It's not about painstakingly trying to build the perfect society from the outside. The real work, the true journey, is all about awakening a conscious awareness on the inside. It's a total shift from being an architect to just awakening.
Because let's be real, without that internal shift, any system we build, no matter how perfect, is pretty much doomed. It might look different, sure, it might be more sophisticated, but eventually, our inner conflict, that duality, it's going to find a way out. And the same old cycles of conflict will just start all over again, just with new names and new faces.
And all of this brings us to the final and I think most profound conclusion of this whole thought experiment. It turns out it's not about building something brand new. It's about remembering something incredibly old.
So it turns out the whole purpose isn't what we thought it was. All that effort, right? All that designing and striving to build a perfect world from the outside, that was never really the point.
We're here to remember that the boundaryless world already exists. It's our natural state. It's not something we have to create from scratch. It's something we just have to return to. The freedom we're all looking for, it isn't a destination we have to get to. It's where we came from.
So you can really boil the takeaway down to these 3 steps. First, stop trying to create a new perfect world out there. Second, the real goal is to turn inward and discover yourself. And third, the role of any real teaching isn't to build you some beautiful cage called freedom, but just to help you experience the infinite space that was already yours to begin with.
And so, that leaves us with this final big question that kind of just hangs in the air. If this world without walls, this state of true freedom, is already ours, then how do we start to experience it again? That, right there, that seems to be the real journey.